Hey there, Bruins fans! Welcome back to BNG Hockey, where it's always black and gold. It does look like, unfortunately, Kevan Miller will be out for the rest of the season. This isn't too much of a surprise. He was already ruled out for the rest of the season, but then the season went on pause, and it looks like the Bruins could play games in August, and maybe Miller would be ready, but the organization doesn't want to rush this guy. He has had a lot of setbacks, especially this time around with the injuries. He plays a really physical game, constantly hitting people, getting in fights, blocking shots, so it'd be really easy for him to just come back and right off the bat, game one, break something. So I'm not surprised that the Bruins want to put him on hold and make sure he is 110% healthy and ready to go, so they're going to start him up next season. Now, the interesting thing that Don Sweeney said is that the Bruins are going to offer him a contract. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. He's the age of 32, which isn't too old, but isn't young, and especially with his physical style of play and injury history, that worried me a little bit that you would even offer this guy a contract. So let's talk about it. Kevan Miller is on the last year of a 4-year deal that was paying him $10 million in total, making $2.5 each season. Now that sounds like a lot, but that's the exact same amount that Adam McQuaid was making when he was here. And unfortunately, Kevan Miller went to the Adam McQuaid school of not getting injured. For those of you who don't get that reference, McQuaid was injured quite a bit. But I still love that guy. Love you, McQuaid. Mean it. But really, the Bruins just don't need Kevan Miller anymore. They have guys like Lozon. You see him come up. He's throwing huge hits, and he can skate. He has offensive upside. He makes a lot less money than Kevan Miller. Guys like Connor Clifton making $1 million for the next 3 seasons. That's an absolute deal. He's a right-handed shot. He can play more minutes, and he has offensive upside. Now, you don't need every guy to go out there and score you 40 goals. But this game is a lot more about offense. You even see a defensive defenseman, an absolute stud in the defensive zone, like Brendan Carlo, putting up goals. So you need to be a well-rounded guy, and Kevan Miller just isn't. He does his job really well. He's a great guy for the room, stands up for his teammates. He wears the A when Krejci and Bergeron are gone or out of the lineup. He's a fan favorite. He's a local guy. I get it. The Bruins love their local guys. He throws those big hits, but I'm really not looking to shell out a roster spot when we have a lot of young kids coming up that could use that roster spot, or the cap space when we need to re-sign guys like Jake DeBrusk or Torrey Krug. So honestly, I would just let Kevan Miller go. He's not worth it. His style of play is going away in the league. He's getting older, and he can't even stay healthy. So I really hope that the Bruins just pass on this guy, and Sweeney's only saying that they'll offer him a contract because that's kind of what he has to do, and pretend like he offered him a contract. Hopefully, he doesn't even knock on Kevan Miller's door. Now, I know it seems like I'm 100% out on Kevan Miller, but there is a way I would re-sign him. It would be if you cannot sign Torrey Krug, and maybe if you lose Zdeno Chara. I highly doubt Chara is going to retire, especially if they don't get to finish this season, but if you lose him, you'll lose that size and physicality, and then you might need a guy like Kevan Miller on the penalty kill, or just to stand up for teammates. It's going to be a lot different when you don't have a 7-foot monster out there to protect all your players. So then you might need a guy like Kevan Miller who knows how to fight. But he's going to be making a lot less than $2.5 million, I can tell you that much. And if you can't sign Torrey Krug, you suddenly have quite a bit of cap space. So if Miller wants to take under $1 million, or maybe right even at $1 million, I might consider it on a 1 or 2 year deal max. But all in all, I really am not interested in this guy. But if you suddenly lose 2 defensemen who are big parts of your team and play physical, even a guy like Krug, we saw him throw a huge hit, then you might need a guy like Kevan Miller to maybe even be your 7th or 8th defenseman. Who really knows? And the Bruins might end up trading John Moore this offseason. So if you lose 3 defensemen and you can bring Kevan Miller back at a really cheap contract, then maybe I would do it. So let me know your thoughts. Would you re-sign Kevan Miller, or are you just not interested? Leave that down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big like, and if you haven't already, subscribe.